Okay, let's go on to the reason that we're all here, both to get the update on what's happening in Sherman Oaks, but to meet with our new police chief. We've had chiefs of police speak at all of our meetings for the last 30 years, including, I think, 3 times Chief Gates. So we've had Gates and Chief Parks and Willie Williams and Chief Bratton, and we're very pleased this evening to have with us the new police chief for the city of Los Angeles, who has a tremendous burden. I'm sure he's going to touch upon it, but the burden is more need, less resources. As everyone knows, the city is being squeezed financially, and where are the cuts to be made? And how will any cuts to the police department affect your safety, your sense of security, and making sure that Sherman Oaks, San Fernando Valley, and the city of Los Angeles is safe, if not safer than it is today. With that, I'd like to introduce a very patient Chief Charlie Beck.
Well, thank you, Richard, and thank you all for inviting me to your meeting. It's really important to me that I get out and talk to folks, especially out in the Valley, because just by coincidence in my career, the Valley is a place that I've spent the least amount of time. So I try to work patrol shifts out here. I do work patrol shifts out here, and I try to get to as many meetings as possible, because this is a huge piece of the city, and as the Valley goes, so does the rest of the city. So it's very, very important to me. You know what? Before I start my comments, I want to introduce somebody that you probably all know. Captain Tia Morris is in the back. Captain. And she's joined by several of her senior lead officers who I know are not strangers to this group. Tia is a fairly new captain, but not new to the Los Angeles Police Department, and she has a great partner in running Van Nuys, and they're doing a tremendous job. And the reason I wanted to introduce her is because if you have hard questions that are very specific to locale, then she's going to get them. But she already knew that. That's why she's in. Very briefly, I am your new chief. I've been the chief for about 7 months now, but I've been with the Los Angeles Police Department for a very long time. I've been a member of the organization for over 35 years. Worked every assignment that you can possibly think of, and actually followed my father as a member of the department. My 2 children, or 2 of my 3 children, are Los Angeles police officers. My sister was a detective with LAPD, and I have multiple cousins also on the job. So the reason I say that is because we went from a really great chief, the last one, Bill Bratton, who came from a long way away, to somebody that is about as inside as you can possibly get. So it is our differences and our similarities that will continue to make this department great. We're very similar, and I know that Bill Bratton came and talked to you. He and I are very similar. As a matter of fact, I learned much of what I know about crime fighting from him on deployment of police officers, on our use of ComStat, on our working with elected officials to make the police department strong. But we're very different in the way that we relate to the Los Angeles Police Department. And while Chief Bratton was a very top-down manager, which is a very necessary thing at some points in an organization's history, I'm a very bottom-up manager, and I spend a lot of my time with police officers and with the rank and file in order to make sure that all the very positive changes that have been made in the upper portions of the police department make it down to the rank and file, and that this becomes a police department that is not so dependent on who its chief is for its success. No organization as big as the Los Angeles Police Department, with as much responsibility as the Los Angeles Police Department, should be dependent on one man or one woman for its success. So it's very important to me that the important changes in philosophy, the changes in transparency, the changes in openness make its way throughout the department and not just be at the top, that we all are on the same sheet of music, so to speak. So you know, those are my goals as a police chief, is to make this organization one that stands on its own 2 feet, not dependent on its leadership for success, but also one that works with its community, and one that is seen by everybody that lives in Los Angeles as its police department, as your police department. Just like people look at sports teams as their sports team, well, I think, and I'm preaching to the choir in many respects here, because I believe that the folks in the Valley have felt this for a long time, that this police department is an extension of you, and that its values are your values, and that we share the same and common goals. So those are the overriding goals that I have for the police department. The problems, and Richard talked about some of them, are what has been mentioned many times so far this meeting, are budget issues. Budget issues are huge for the Los Angeles Police Department, but we're very fortunate. We just, as most of you know, we just completed our proposed budget for the next fiscal year from July to June of this coming fiscal year. And in that budget, we were able to retain a number of things that I was very concerned that we would lose. The most important of which is police hiring. The city and all of you have worked very hard and spent considerable money and political capital to grow the Los Angeles Police Department, to make it larger. And to give you an idea why it needs to be larger, the city of Los Angeles is 470 square miles, a little over 4 million people, with 9,963 police officers. Chicago, which is about a third less population, just about half the square mileage, has 13,000 police officers. If you work out the ratio, Chicago has 2 to 1 police officers per capita as Los Angeles Police Department. New York, 8.5 million people, 35,000 cops, so twice the people, 4 times the cops, giving them a officer to citizen ratio of twice what we have also. So in the other 2 major cities, of the 3 big cities in the United States, the Los Angeles Police Department does way more with way less, and is able to police to a better degree than certainly Chicago or New York with half the police officers. So any change in the number of police officers that we have has a hugely positive impact on our ability, because we are so short-staffed. I always say, and I say in front of all groups, that I firmly believe that one of my police officers is worth 2 of any New York cop or Chicago cop, but that still is not enough. We still need the numbers. So we were able to retain in our budget hiring, huge piece. We won't be able to expand the police department this year, but we will be able to maintain its number, because the reality is that just as many of you know, we have retirements every year. We lose between 300 and 400 officers per year to retirements or changes in vocation, and so in order to keep up with that, that's about how many we have to hire. Next year we're set to hire just under 300 police officers, and that will keep us even. And that is really important.